I'm going to let Seth go first since apparently he's an interim CBO. So
Thanks, Becky. I think the most important thing with a head of BD to think about is actually deal experience. So there's many, and specifically deal experience where you're on the sales side effectively, right? There's many folks that are involved in diligence and alliance management, but those folks in general, right, haven't had to sell anything to anybody else. And it's crass to say it, but when you're talking about a partnership, your customer is the big pharma, right? You're selling to maybe only 10 or 20 people, but you are selling to those 10 or 20 people. And it's important to think about that in a B2B sales process. Who would you want as that person, and what skill sets would you want them to be able to have? And you would generally want to have seen them be able to sell something successfully before. And when you think about evaluating potential BD heads, folks that have led deal teams in large pharma tend to have that experience because they have to sell internally for a deal, right? They have to convince sometimes dozens of people internally to support something. And certainly folks who've had that experience at startups also have that experience because they've had to go out and convince potential big pharma partners to sign up for a deal. So that to me is the number one thing I would look for in a BD head. I will also say sometimes you don't want a BD head. If you're only going to do one deal per year or one deal every 2 or 3 years, because that's your strategy is to do a lot of internal work, it may not make sense to hire a full-time person there. Back in the days when I actually did experiments with my hands, we had this saying for directed evolution, which is you get what you screen for. And when it comes to people and hiring, you get what you incentivize for. If you hire a head of BD, you are effectively incentivizing someone by saying your job is to go get a deal, and they will go get deals. And you want to make sure that that job and that goal is aligned with what you want to do as an organization. Sometimes you just want to spend a year or two buckling down, working on experiments, building the platform, and then you go do a deal. And you maybe then want to wait a year before you hire someone to go do those deals because you don't want to go off too early on that.
yeah, I think the only thing I'll add to that is that this is not always true, but I personally think that for particularly platform companies, hiring someone who has at least a basic scientific background can be really valuable. Your head of BD will oftentimes be the first impression that potential partners get of your company and of your science. So having someone who can speak really intelligently about it, answer the tough questions, and really wow your pharma partner can be a huge value add. You know, as I said, I think this is particularly true for platform companies where understanding the pharma's scientific needs and how your technology can complement their programs can be really essential.